All right, I'm calling the meeting to order at 4:06. The roll call. I am here, Catherine Brady, Marilyn Comrie.
Here.
Hallie Keeler will not be here. Jenna will not be here. Sashi Nadanachibo will not be here. Barb Nagy.
Here.
Bree Shaw will not be here. Sue Troy.
Here.
And we don't see Carl Strand.
Oh,
Bless you. I take that back. Hi, Jeff. We're back to.
Here. I'm not to hang up. We need to.
Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I hear you just fine.
I can hear you. Hi.
Wait, who's the second one?
Bella.
Oh, excellent. Hi, Bella. Hi, Paige.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Lee. Thank you for coming. Do you have anything to say that's beyond the circle of friends? Lee?
No.
All right, then, communications.
Hey, so I just wanted to communicate that I received a request for reconsideration of library materials. I received this today regarding a book that was placed in our new book section that was faced out. I guess you could consider it on display. We don't choose these books to be on display. We just, when a new book comes in, we just take books and put them at the top of each book stack just to showcase that we have new books. It's got a new book sticker. As everything in the library, we purchase things of interest to all. And that's it. You can make your own judgment of what you'd like to read. So in that vein, the reconsideration that has come in, I guess I could read some of it. The book is called Beyond Proportionality, Israel's Just War in Gaza by Dane Rosenbaum. And the issue at hand is that it was displayed facing out. They are concerned about the justification of Israel in Gaza. And speaking on the theme of the work, she's concerned about genocide and the atrocities that have occurred. They also state that this book would be fine in the stacks to be used by those researching the topic. They just do not find it appropriate to be displayed front facing out because it's inappropriate and harmful in words. She also responds to, she does not believe in banning books, but having it once again, front cover facing outward. In the new book section, looks like we're recommending this book, and she's hoping her library would not want to send a message that we are endorsing this. And as everything else, we do not endorse these books. We purchase these books, a variety of every topic and subject known to man and woman to be put on the shelf for you to make the decision on your own. So I am unsure by the form that was filled out if they actually covered, the whole entire book in its entirety.
It sounds like it's more of a display challenge than a book challenge.
Yeah.
When she specifically said it's okay if it's in the stacks, that's a display challenge.
Okay, so I'm wondering if maybe I should contact her and have her fill out the display form instead of actually challenging the book itself.
And it's perfectly understandable that she went for the book form, but since we have it divided out, I think it's much more appropriate than display.
Yeah.
And as you see from the way that we've placed it into the policy, or we're going to place in the policy, we've broken out displays, we've broken out programs, we've broken out books and materials. And so there's something, each one. Okay, so that's why we'll reach out to her, provide her with a new form and see if she would like to fill out the display request.
Is her identity public at this point, or? I mean, should I put it in the minutes?
I vote no, just because that hasn't actually gone into the library board policies yet, even though it is Connecticut state law, she would not have been aware of it from, I mean,
Yeah.
who goes to the legislatures?
Also, because we're gonna give her the opportunity, this person the opportunity to, fill out the display or not fill out the display for requests. This person may decide not to upon further reflection, or if she does, then we'll go with the next steps from that.
I have a very small communication. I spoke with Mr. Engmadson from the Marine Magnet School when I saw him. He's an English teacher at the Marine Science. And I said, so you don't have a library? This was news to me. And he goes, yeah, we don't have a library. And I asked him if it would be appropriate for you to talk to him because he's interested in this, but he said probably the principal, which I'm sure you already know. So I said that we were very interested in this because we thought there should.
Well, thank you for that communication, because after our meeting, the last time discussing this, I spoke to my youth librarians and said, did you know this? And they said it's been interesting trying to get a contact over there, but they did not know that and suggested that they already deliver materials to Fitch. The only, we do that exclusively to their Groton residents. So same with Grasso Tech. There's Groton students and then there's other students. It's not just exclusively Groton students. So if you had a library card, we could do delivery to the, Groton holders. But the students from other towns would need to have, it's a whole different thing. But we may be able to provide book collections that may be frequent in and out. I don't know if that would be helpful. But we can figure something out. But I did connect already with the youth librarians to see, what can be done, considering they don't have one.
Thank you. The minutes, has everyone had a chance to read them already? If Chuck, you need time to look at the minutes?
Already
No.
reviewed, thank you.
In that case, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion of their contents? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as written, please say aye.
Hi.
Chuck, are you voting in favor?
Yes.
So that is unanimous. For the people here, thank you. Statistics.
Well, a lot of things are holding somewhat steady, but I did want to. The library homepage under web social media activity, the notice from last year went from 9,000 to like 4,000. And then if you go under Google My Business, profile views and searches went from like 4,600 to almost, close to 7,000. I will tell you, most of those numbers are semi, kind of work in tandem. And that's because when people they don't technically will go online and type in grotonpl.org. What they usually do is they go through Google and then say Groton Public Library, Connecticut, and then a little area pops up and then it's like the Google Analytics of things. And it'll have our name and it'll have where you can click on website, phone, directions. That's where many of our people are going to then find us. It's a typical search. So I'd say I wouldn't be as worried about getting to the library homepage because we are getting found via that mechanism. So another thing could also be because most of our computers in here automatically used to go direct to the library homepage, which is almost like getting a statistic for no reason, because what they really want to do is get right to a search, able to then search. So you were getting a lot of those, and we have since switched some of that around, and they don't go directly to library. It's an erroneous statistic, anyway. So anyways, that was one issue there. You notice our downloadable magazines have shot up incrementally. I think a lot of that has to do with many of the physical magazines are ceasing. Almost every year we have another two that are not printing anymore, going strictly on the ebook platform. So we are going to see more of that happening. And then children's non-print, which has been kind of quiet a little bit. You're seeing a little more checkouts in that area as well. And I think that could be attributed to we're buying more playaways, which are the little devices that have audio on them. We are seeing a slight movement with kids using the ebook platform to read books. Very little, not as good as the full rank. And some of our new, one of our newest items called Tony's. I don't know if you've seen them. I should have brought one for show and tell today, but it's a little box. It's almost like a little speaker, and there's these little characters. When you take this character and put it on the box, it tells stories, and the character could be like Bluey, it could be, you know, some children's character. So that is another audio form that children are checking out, and that's so seeing that it's and on the back, I did want to just note that notice that the meeting room is nonprofit 231 as compared to like previous years, which I've told you the meeting rooms are at premium. But in that number, we do not include library programs. So we've been using the meeting rooms 1 and 2 for library programs much more. And I expect that number next for this upcoming month in October to also be a little low for nonprofits, because I feel like we have a program every other day in this room. So like I said, those are not included in the nonprofit numbers. And then something to know in future, which I'll get to more of this in the director's report about materials. We may start to see a lot of shifting and movement and how much is being added to the collection. And I will reserve that for the next part of. Any questions on this? Okay, so Ruth, long drawn out Ruth project. What I can tell you is that you saw all the stuff has been cleaned up with the exception of a couple roped off areas up at the top of the roof, but all the materials are gone. What I've been told is there was one part of the roof that did not need inspection. It failed. And so the contractor is supposed to come out and fix that portion of the roof that failed.
You just had it fixed. Why is it failing?
Well, when an inspector comes in for the warranty purposes, everything has to be plus. And apparently there's one section that did have a lot of leaks. And funny enough, the contractor had reported that the inspector told us to do it this way. And now they're failing us on it. So I don't know. I just want it fixed. So they have to come back and take care of that. We did, I think I noted the last time that there were 2 little leaks that happened. They were not roof related. The 2 little leaks had to do with failing in one of the plumbing pipes in the wall, which has been fixed. And then there was another thing that facilities has to come in just to update, but they are not roof related. Thank goodness. As soon as I saw the bucket come in, I was like, what is happening? Let me fix this, but yeah, exactly. So we're on that. Staffing, GMTV update, with staffing, we went through our first round of project archivist, the grant funded position that I've been talking about. We're going on the next step. Second interviews should be held in the next week or 2. I'm really hopeful by maybe hopefully second week in November. We can have somebody in place. Really excited to get this person on board. As for GMTB, I just wanted it noted that, we are working with a very, light group. It's basically Sean. As you know, we're still looking for a part-time, technician. While we have the current person who used to be in that part-time position is at limited hours. So they're not here as much. And then our other technician, is having some personal things going on. So they are unavailable at this time. So if you don't see things posted immediately, that would just be because we have a one-man show essentially. So be patient, stuff is still being filmed. Meetings are still being filmed, just taking a little while to get the editing. And I did also want to note GMTV, Sean had put in for a Pegpecia grant, which he tries to do every single year. And it was awarded. And what was in that grant was to get a new set for GMTV, which I'd love to have you do a walkthrough because it's amazing. It looks like Channel 3 News, I'm telling everybody. So he's really up the game and it looks really nice. So we will do show and tell as soon as he's available to be able to do that.
Where is it?
It's right in the studio in the back. So we'll do, like I said, we'll do a walkthrough, show and tell. I'm trying to think of any, and then we had one library aide yesterday who gave their notice, 2-week notice. So we will also be going back out for a library. Yes,
It never ends, does it?
yeah, it is, but it is. Circe is our library software vendor, and our contract is up, as I mentioned a couple times ago. We are talking to them. We keep going back and forth with quotes, and this is the library software that we share with Waterford, Mill Memorial, and Mystic and Knowing. We're also looking at, doing due diligence to see what else is out there. We've contacted somebody else just to see what their numbers and what their financials look like. So we can quotes from them as well. Regarding the statistics, I was just saying about materials added. So we are venturing into a issue with our vendor, our very big vendor, Baker & Taylor, who's our book supplier. They're folding and they are looking to fold end operations as of January. And frankly, I don't even believe January is the date. I think it's gonna be sooner. So the interesting thing is there's other book vendors. However, in the Northeast region, primary customer is primary customer of New England, our vendor is Baker & Taylor. So almost every library is trying to jump ship right now to get to the next vendor to supply books. And it has been very interesting from our perspective because we just paid our bill. We pay extra services we just pay extra services. And they took our check last month. And they just told us, they came out with a newsletter yesterday and said, we're not fulfilling back orders. We're not anything that says zero. That means there's nothing in the pipeline. And that's concerning. So what I can tell you is we already have accounts with Amazon and Ingram, another book vendor. However, we don't have, it's not the kind of volume where we get records that come in for our catalog. Processing and all this other nonsense that we have done. So we are going to be transitioning to this other big vendor who I personally have had a relationship with since when I was out in Arizona at a county library system. We are already in the queue. We have already been a customer to purchase other things. So while I can confidently say that we are going to be transitioning without a problem, it's just getting there. That's going to be. So I will be putting out something to the public that, you may start seeing things a little sparser on the new bookshelf. We are going to try to do priorities of polls, things that people are purchase requesting. And also we call it automatically yours, which are best selling authors, the Pattersons, the Dale Browns and stuff on the New York Times bestseller list. We're going to try to put those on priority to ensure that those are here and, customer needs are met. But you will start seeing in the statistics probably a real decline in numbers. But
What happened to Baker and Taylor? They've been around a long time.
1,800.
Um,
So they had a person who purchased them 2 years ago, and as I've mentioned at previous meetings, it has just gone downhill. Unfortunately, I think the person who purchased it had grand ideas of things, no pulse of what his customers were really looking for, what the bread and butter of the business. Looking at, I wouldn't even say AI, looking at things, products that had no relevance to your core customer. And frankly, from my own personal, I think they ran it to the ground. And again, we're not listening to the customer. And I think they were supposed to be bought out by a company last month, and the company backed out. And so they're like, we cannot sustain, we got a buyer. So they have terminated most of their employees, removed severance packages. People are not even getting, the few that are staying are not getting health insurance. I mean, it's just really concerning. And so I'm gonna try to make a claim for the money that they just took. You see that, I'm gonna ask town to investigate further, but it's just really concerned. I mean, we spend quite a bit of time and money with this vendor, and it's really a shame that in like a month they're gonna fold and didn't give anyone notice. I feel bad more for the smaller libraries because some of these, the two main vendors that are out, but the one that we're transferring to said that you have to be spending a significant amount of money in order to.
Big
That's
customer.
true.
Yeah.
It's just because they can't, it's too much. So anyway, just wanted to alert you. Before you start seeing one item on the shelf, but we're gonna be working really hard to ensure that we get this and quickly. Collection projects. So we are doing a couple projects for staff that are things like our DVD boxes or cases. We are no longer going to be locking them. We have started transitioning those out. So when people go to pick out a DVD, they can just check it out. They'll have to undo the locking mechanism. So that's underway, almost done. And then the other main projects, we're doing a full shifting project in the adult and the staffs. And that's due to trying to just clean up the shelves, get the new books that are going to the old stacks. And also because we're going to take a range out at the very end. The very first fiction range, I'm going to take out so there's a little more space for more people to connect in the back area where the meeting rooms are. Those tables are taken quite often. So we want to add some more tables and make it a little more accessible.
I have a question about the, where things are kept. For the first time when I was looking at what's available on a particular book, it said storage.
So we have a very small, not a lot. We put them in the back because if we have a couple of copies and it hasn't checked out in a while, but we want to keep it, we put it in the back and that's labeled as storage. So if you're ever looking for something, you can go get it and check it out.
Oh, so that's something where someone would need to actually come and speak to you. That's correct. Okay.
Circle Fence.
Circle Friends, thank you, Jen. We held our October book sale last Thursday. Generated just over $450. Not too bad. Not great, but not too bad. We have a new slate of officers Amber Dance is our new president. Sarah Schmidt is our new vice president. Angela Hott is our treasurer, and I'm still the secretary. We're working on a new fundraiser for January or February trivia night, which we are working on right now. We're hopeful maybe it'll become like quarterly or maybe even monthly. We don't know yet. But we'll see if people have a good time and we make some money. The library will benefit, so that'll be great. We are now discussing a social media platform for the Circle of Friends. We're not on anything yet or right now, but we're looking at maybe Facebook or some other media to get word out about us. And also to give people an opportunity to join as well. QR code maybe or something along those lines. I have nothing to do with that because that's not my wheelhouse. But we do have people that are very good with that, so hopefully that'll work out. And our annual appeal is underway. We sent out all the requests and we've got back so far just over $1,000, and we get checks in pretty much every day. So we're hopeful about that too. And that is it. That's what's going on.
When's the next Circle of Friends meeting?
You know what? I can find out.
I wasn't at the last meeting. I'm curious.
Yeah, November 17th.
Okay,
Yeah, on Monday.
okay.
Any other questions? No? Okay.
From the past programs we had, Ray Dillon, author of The Thin Blue Lie, he hired FBI agent, and it's really interesting is sometimes it's hard getting people to come in for authors, but we had at least 25 people. It's really interesting. Throw people came out for that. Civics 101, past program as well as an upcoming program. So it's been a 3-part series. Our town clerk was at the last one talking about, you were in attendance.
I went, she was talking about elections and how they work in Groton and fielding whatever other questions they have.
And then, prior to that was on the Constitution.
She was really good.
She was awesome.
Yeah, she was there.
Yeah, many, we got good, feedback on that one. And
She
then
was excellent.
the upcoming one is, about Groton's government.
Yeah, you got a sign out front about it. I read it when I walked in.
John Reiner, town planner is going to be here to talk on that. So, the turtle, the 250th, our little, lecture for the 250th celebration of the Navy. Unfortunately, we had 3 people, but we taped it. I don't think I marketed. It got to enough places, so it's okay because we taped it and it came out fabulous. And the gentleman, Mr. Manstand, was amazing. And the 3 people that came had a million questions, so that was really interesting. And I learned a whole bunch of new things. So the unfortunate thing about this 250th Navy, we were supposed to attend going to the Nautilus Museum for a big family event celebration of the 250th of the Navy. And as you know, as the government shut down, it's closed.
Yeah.
And I just spoke with the person today who was running the program, and she said, unfortunately, even if the government opens up, they are not going to be holding the celebration. So, yeah, because it's to celebrate in the month of October, and it's just not that. So it's unfortunate. Stephen King lecture. To be fair, don't know how many people attended that, but we did get phone calls for it. So, and we've had that lecture before, and I'm looking to possibly book him. He has one on something historically related on George Washington or whatnot, but he's a good speaker. We've had him before. And then upcoming programs, as I mentioned about civics, 101, but bumpers and books this Saturday, 10th year.
Yeah, it looks like the weather's gonna be good. Yeah.
I know, fingers crossed. Kim actually just sent something out to the fire marshal today to make sure all was good safety wise. So that'll be fun. And then human trafficking red flags. That'll be it's a very tough topic, so.
Can I have a motion to approve Jen's report?
So moved.
Second. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Just to be clear, I can't.
No.
No,
Are you on the board?
I'm not,
No.
I just was, I didn't know for sure, but I just wanted to.
Question, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to new business, which is you to begin with.
Okay, so one thing is it's funny that you mentioned that you talked to Mr. I, because I have actually been like formatting an email because I'm gonna try to get in a meeting with my principal and see if like we can do something about the whole library thing. Because I was brainstorming the other day and I was thinking, if like you can only lend to like Groton residents, I could try to connect all the libraries from all the different sending towns and see if we could create some kind of library in our school where like get have like an online system and create a website where like everybody can be connected. So if you like enter your town, they'll send like, so I was brainstorming. So try and put that into action. Second library related thing, I'm coming to Bumpers and Books this weekend. So
Okay.
my friends are decorating my car.
Excellent. That'd be
I
fun.
think our school has like 3 cars or something.
Oh,
That's
good.
busy. Yeah, so that's gonna be fun.
Always.
Other than that, no library related business.
That's pretty terrific.
School's going okay?
Yeah, I just had PSATs today.
Oh, you
Yeah.
look fine.
It was a little rough, but it's okay. We're gonna wait to see how my score comes out, but I think it was okay.
Bella, did you want to talk a little bit about Fitch? Okay. We might be having some technical difficulties hearing Bella. Okay, you can break in later if that works for you. I am delighted to report that 3 of our library board members came up for reappointment and were approved by town council. It would be. That's Marilyn Comrie, Barb Nagy, and the absent Marie Shaw. And we are so grateful for your continued service on this board. Thank you.
I got a letter from council saying, yes, you've been reappointed.
Thank you.
Next, we have to approve and then report to the town clerk our schedule of board meetings for the following year. You'll find that in their packet. These are all very standard because according to our bylaws, we always meet on the 3rd Wednesday of the month at 4, which is what these are. I suspect you need to vote on them anyway.
Yes.
May I have a motion to accept the schedule as given out by?
So moved.
Second. All in
The
favor?
same people doing this.
Yeah. All in favor of approving these dates on this, on this piece of paper for our board meetings in 2026, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you. That passes unanimously. Appreciate that. I can send that into. so.
Are you gonna send it?
I will send it to her. yes.
Okay, perfect.
One tiny thing I'll be honest. Now that brings us to old business. We were talking before the meeting about having a quorum, and which we just got with Chuck coming in. Yay. So I think we can go ahead and discuss this and perhaps take a vote on them. For starters, is there anything anybody saw that they would want to discuss? Barb?
I read through this. I found a few typos.
No.
Yeah, hard to
Okay.
believe, isn't it?
That is shocking to me after all of that.
But why don't I just?
Yep.
They're all marked. There's
Okay.
things like a missing close quotation. There's a couple of questions,
Those are the blue.
a couple of extra spaces. Yeah, the things that are circled or there.
And I will,
There's a missing word somewhere.
Wow.
I know, it's hard to believe.
Actually, the fact you caught it is not hard to believe. She's an awesome editor. Wow.
yes, glad somebody.
Do I need to read through all these?
No,
No,
they're
out
all
loud,
just minor.
Okay.
all,
They're like typos, it's
Yeah,
not like,
yeah.
It's not.
yeah, there's nothing that changes the meaning of any.
and I did also want to say this has nothing to do with content either, but when I sent this in, I took out all the highlights on the appendix K, appendix M, because I didn't want it like blaring, like, so they would say,
Yes.
what is this? Because it's really reflective of how we're formatting,
Yeah,
and how our appendix is. So I just put what they are now, and then.
And then on the accessibility accommodation request form, accommodation is misspelled in 2 places.
It's funny.
Maria
so-
pointed that out as well.
Okay, good.
And then also the tone of it seems a little like negative. Like, we'll try, but we don't have to do anything if it costs a lot of money or is a burden on us. So, and also I thought this, what is the disability that makes an accommodation necessary? It just seems kind of personal, like some people might not want to say on a form that potentially is kept on file here, that they have, they're blind, they're hard of hearing, they maybe have, cognitive issues. So
Well, yeah.
I
okay.
was thinking, why not take that question out
Okay.
and then at the bottom say, if we have additional questions, we will contact you. Because a lot of the accommodations, it's pretty obvious what the disability is. And to have somebody say, I need sign language, and then have the question, well, why do you need sign language? Well, because I'm deaf, I mean, it just seems like we're pounding them over the head. And I would move that second paragraph, the Americans with Disability Act does not require blah, blah, blah. I would put that at the end as kind of a footnote instead of after the, tell us what you need, and then
No, we're not
we're
doing
saying, yeah, you can tell us, but we'll decide whether we're going to give it to you. And also in the first sentence, I would say the Groton Public Library provides reasonable accommodations instead of seeks to provide. It's like, we're trying, but we're not going to tell you that we're going to do it. So I would just say provides reasonable accommodations. And then leave it up to us to say, the request isn't reasonable.
Any
We
other
could
comments
even-
on that?
We
form?
could even change it to, instead of 14 days, it could be 10. I guess they were going with 2 weeks. I reached out to Bill Memorial because they have this as on their website, you can fill out a form and then send it like an email me form, which we could absolutely do too on our page. So I asked if we could utilize the same and then use the same version. They said, yes, we could. So we could obviously go on with it. And again, if we want to shorten the time to, I wouldn't be opposed to 10 days. It just does have to. For that.
If we do shorten the time, or if you shorten the time, it's also referenced in the policy, so that should
Mhm.
change.
And we don't worry about business days because you're open every day
No,
during the year,
yes.
so. Is there any more discussion on this form? I'm wondering if we can vote on these as we go, so we don't have to be flipping around trying to figure out what got changed. So can I have a motion to approve the accessibility accommodation request form with the following changes? In the first sentence, it will be changed to the Groton Public Library provides reasonable accommodation rather than seeks to provide. That second paragraph with the Americans with Disabilities Act will go at the very end of the form. We'll take out the bullet that says, what is the disability that makes an accommodation necessary? And just above the Americans with Disabilities Act paragraph at the bottom, we'll say, if we have additional questions, we may contact you.
We have to correct accommodations as misspelled and
Yep.
please provide any additional. At the bottom.
Oh, I was looking for. Thank you. So may I have a motion for those changes?
So moved.
Second, Oh, we have somebody new saying.
All in favor of changing the form in that way, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That sounds unanimous. Thank you. Perhaps then we'll just step through the ones that I highlighted as being new sections. The digital content and databases section. Was there any discussion of that? We have not had that in our policy before, separated out.
Programs, is that what you said?
It's under library collection policies, it's like the third page of the policies. The digital content / databases. And stepping through these merely so that we take a hard look at the stuff that's different before we vote to approve. Any concerns or discussion about digital databases? In that case, I suggest that we move on to section 5, programs, which is about 3 pages later, halfway down the page. There was a very small section on or verbiage about programs before, but it's been expanded to the entire section. At the behest of the Connecticut state.
Or some in regards to communication that we had. If I send this out, if this gets approved today, this
That'd
would
be
be
the
very,
current one.
it would be the correct. Because sending it out, I don't want to say it's relevant, they did approve this already. We just need to finalize it. So.
Remind me what you did about the website.
They told me not to put
do
anything on the website. Until it is done at the state level.
Okay.
Wasn't necessary.
Has everybody had enough of a chance to look through it? The only thing I noticed was that under F, program access, as we were just talking about the ADA accommodation form, here it says at least 2 weeks, 14 to 21 days, and I think we should take out the 21 because we just said 14 in the.
Yeah, I think for
Other suggestions, discussion points? Even though you guys can't vote, you guys think you can probably chip in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The other thing I was wondering about, is program selection D number 2. Then if that would, include authors, I think it's good for authors to be able to sell their book while they're, what I mean, to encourage that. And so that section made it seem like it wouldn't be allowed, but then when you read at the end, I guess that explains that they can sell their books. If we had an author presentation, they could be available to purchase.
Books, CDs and DVDs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good.
Trying to fit the authors, because we've always had the authors. Typically what happens is if you're an author, they don't charge a speaking fee, because they are allowed to then sell their books. So
Yeah.
it's kind of it's the same as saying having a business of soliciting.
And it's perfect. I think people would be disappointed if they came to an author talk and they loved the sound of the
Yeah,
book and they couldn't.
Right, I just didn't
Yeah.
want to write a policy
No,
that
no,
excluded, maybe.
Especially for authors.
Yes.
Does it contradict number 2 though? The presenters may not use library programs as opportunities to sell products or services. I think that's what you're asking.
Yes, I was asking, I mean, it seemed as though that section. The way I read it, that it would.
A product or a service. I mean, clearly service doesn't apply, but
Correct.
would you call a book a product?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, we can note, and it's just if you say authors, because you could also put musical, we have had people who are authors that have books and CDs.
You could just say with the exception noted in wherever the other item is about selling books.
Oh, there's a good idea.
With the exception noted in policy. Whatever that is.
Section. Each. Section. What is section? Because that's what we're doing is doing by section. So it's section 5. 5 each.
Yeah, just say with the exception noted in section H of this policy.
Any other comments on this section? In that case, may I have a motion to approve the section on programs with the changes of adding to D2. Presenters may not use library programs as opportunities to sell products or services, distribute business materials, or collect client information for commercial purposes, with the exception of, did you phrase that again?
Section H in this policy.
Section of. Just section H, I don't have to say the contents of section H.
Yeah, to say with the exception noted in section H. Yeah.
And then we're also going to change under F program access on the next page. Gonna make that 14 days instead of 14 to 21 days for the request form. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Then the material review and reconsideration section, which is the very next page after programs. This was not in our original policy either. We just referred to the fact that there were forms at the back of the policy that you could fill out if you wanted something reconsidered. So this was really fleshed out according to the legislature's requests. Thanks so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
So that I'll see you all.
That's great.
We're having a meeting in November. Okay, great. Take care.
And congratulations on your reelection.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure you had,
Against me, so you
you had to
know.
run quite a campaign, I'm sure.
Nobody wanted the job. Take care.
Thanks.
Interestingly, this was very similar to what we already had, although it's much better described here, with the exception, as we pointed out a few times now, that these are public records. So we really tried hard in our last reconsideration request to make sure that the person's name was not, but they can no longer expect that kind of privacy according to state law. Public record. The public record. Not that we're shouting anything from the rooftops. And the flow of this is a little different too. Much of it goes straight to Jennifer first. As you'll recall from the last time, we did have a reconsideration request. There was a subcommittee here that read the book, and then we talked about it together. Now, what the state wants is for Jennifer to start, and then if there's an appeal, it comes to the board. That makes sense. There are also new timeframes for exhibits, displays, or programs. And actually also the books and CDs, et cetera. We put in a 2-month timeframe on an appeal so that we're not going back 9 months later for the same person. You know, we've said we would keep the book, for instance, on the shelf for 3 years. But if the person comes back with an appeal, we'd have to readdress it. And it seemed to make sense to make that a shorter time frame. The timeframes for exhibits, displays, or programs got a lot of discussion at the subcommittee because, you know, there's no real point in bringing up an issue with an exhibit or display that's over. So those need to be made while they're still on view at the library. And programs must be have a request for reconsideration within 5 days after the program. That is a change, so I wanted to bring it to your attention.
So the forms and the decision is archived through the minutes, our board minutes? Is that where it's archived, if it's public information or?
Well, as a public record, I mean, that's, if it's FOIA or it's.
Or do you submit it to does the state want you to submit it to them?
If it goes to an appeal, they certainly
Yes,
want to
if it's an
know.
appeal, yes.
But if it's just,
That's your duty. What would
interesting.
happen is I would make a copy and I would, if it's electronic, which I do it electronic, that's essentially a public record because,
Yeah,
and it's.
you would probably tell the board when you got the.
She would report
Yeah,
to us,
and
yeah, in that
It would
sense.
end up,
that would
Be
be
the
the
public
record of it.
Yes.
Something being a public record doesn't necessarily mean
So like it's gonna get.
It's
posted.
archived.
posted.
No, but I
Just
mean,
that if
where
somebody
does it
wanted
get
to go look for it.
archived?
So I print them out and we keep them, because as a public record, it's something that we have to keep, retain, so any letters. Not only would they fill out, but also what our responses would be kept together, which I have them actually back from the previous records. They are kept on file.
Interestingly, if there's an appeal, you will have noticed that the board is consulting with lots of parts of the state. So that definitely brings them in. Anyway, we're gonna have to wait until that happens to really see how that plays out because they just had this sort of
New
the
process,
people
yeah.
that get talked to.
I don't know, the turnaround time would be fast.
And we don't know if it's just an FYI or if they really want to talk about it. I don't believe we need any changes on that. We can just approve that as a,
So I just have one question on this reconsideration of exhibit, display or program. It doesn't say you have to be a Groton resident to do that. It does say that under the. And I was just wondering if we care whether the person who doesn't like the exhibit, display or program is a Groton resident.
that's actually in the second paragraph of the whole section.
How is it?
The Groton resident with a vested interest may challenge any library material which is defined as books and exhibits display.
Oh, okay. As long as it's somewhere in there.
And then it is noted, it had to be noted on both forms. as
Okay,
well.
good.
It was, yeah.
It's in there a number of
It's in
times.
its-
That and the fact that it's a matter of public record, they really wanted to repeat it.
Yeah.
Okay, the request,
Yeah,
the request for reconsideration of library materials have not changed much at all, except for the verbiage at the beginning, I believe. They were very specific about your full legal name, address, and phone number. And the difference in procedure in the library director starts the evaluation process. I'm not sure we.
and
changed
actually,
much
if they
anything
don't
else.
fill out the full legal, if they do not provide full legal name, address, and telephone number, I do not have to go any further.
It's not a valid.
So,
Do they have to have a library card in order to?
Just a
I mean,
Groton
you could be
resident.
a Groton resident and not.
The next appendix for consideration of exhibit display or program is different because program has been added. The previous one was just exhibit and display.
One comment I had on that, and it's, I marked it in what I gave you. The second last paragraph, in the request for consideration of library materials is not in the request for reconsideration of an exhibit, display, or program. For more information, see blah, 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 and then if you are requesting reconsideration of a blah, 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 use the other form.
I'm lost. What are you referring to?
The second last on appendix B,
Appendix D?
appendix D, the second last paragraph on the introduction, it says
Oh,
for more information, see
Oh, okay.
review and consideration. There's no corresponding language in appendix C.
Okay, man, you're good. So how about if we add the first sentence of that?
Yeah, it should just say.
Yeah.
Whatever the section is, and then if you are requesting reconsideration of library materials, maybe say book, DVD, or magazine, use the form provided in appendix B.
Do you think that's necessary? I think exhibit display or program is pretty darn clear.
Yeah, then, it's because, so that language is in this because some people might think library materials is an exhibit.
Since we were forced to define library materials as any of the above.
Okay.
There are some things in this policy that are a little inconsistent, but much of this verbiage they wanted verbatim, so it is what it is. Not that we're complaining, it's good of them to worry about library policies. We appreciate that. Thank you, Barb. Your ability to keep all this in your mind and see what's consistent amazes. Any other comments on that exhibit display or program form? Don't you want to get on a subcommittee to do policies?
Know it.
If not, may I have a motion to alter this by adding what Barb pointed out? These sentence, for more information, see the material review and recommendation. Review and reconsideration, section 3, I think that is right, of the Groton Public Library Policy Manual.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. that is everything that I had made note of to go over. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss on these policies that we will be submitting to the Connecticut State Library? Thank you so much for your diligence, especially you,
I know.
in looking at these. Okay, so now we're going to do one final vote for the whole thing. May I have a motion to approve this as we have amended it, as we've gone, and with Barb's smaller changes, which I'm not going to bother to read to you.
So
Motion. A second? Second. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you so much. Thank you, Chuck. Excellent. Thank you for making that relatively painless. We will now move on to America's 250th anniversary celebration.
So, not much to report. We're just kind of in flux with a couple of things happening. We had, representatives from Parks and Rec talk about, July 4th. They're on board, getting some things on the website together currently. They're connecting the dots to ensure that things go out, so we can encourage people to participate this year with possible floats and things like that, so they are working on that. And then website is continually updated. Still waiting for confirmation on open house day, which is in June. Barb noted that it's June 13th of next year. But as soon as that date gets confirmed, we can then go ahead and go on their website and get Jabez Smith House on the list there, so we can have activities happening on that day.
Is there a possibility of like busing people there from the library? There's a lot of parking.
There's not, and we briefly talked to Parks and Rec about maybe shuttling. But we'll worry about those details as soon as we get signed up, make sure that we can actually get on the board for that. Because I think it was a brilliant day to consider, because there's a lot of activity at a lot of houses across Connecticut. So it's like, maybe people will stop and then go to the next house instead of staying all day.
you can also get on the Connecticut Open House website too, and be part of that
Right,
calendar.
having like
Yeah.
the marketing on that, yeah. I talked to both the library directors about moving along. We need to know what our book discussion books are going to be for the year. They took some books home, so I told them it's of the essence, because we have to apply for either funding or grants or whatnot to get these books. So I'm hoping, plus the school's very vested in this now too. So, I'm hoping by next week we have at least the first 4 books picked, and then get that out. And then we've just got a couple pending programs. One, I'm really excited. I just got an email today and a phone call to confirm a performance, trying to get one for March. It's a performance on Tony Judge, which was the runaway slave of George and Martha Washington, and love performances. So I'm very interested to confirm that. And then Ken Burns' documentary, American Revolution, comes out November 16th. We are trying to figure out how to do that, because a lot of places are having viewing opportunities, but it's on a Sunday. And I don't know if it's at night, it's not showing the library, but we may be able to show it at another time. So we're trying to figure out how that logistically would work. We definitely want to show it. If it has to wait till 2026, may have to do that. But lots of good ideas. There are a couple members now that have sent me some interesting things, which we'll talk about at the next meeting. Regarding other fun family activities that we could do throughout the year.
Are you still thinking about having a family kickoff that Saturday in January, or that's not?
We did talk about that. It's just a matter of who's doing what, if it's gonna be here, and I know we talked about it kind of like an adult kickoff, wine and cheese event over at Mystic Knowing, so we gotta finalize some details on that.
Parking is better here. And
Yeah.
Mystic and Knowing, parking is horrible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So details, but January's coming very quickly, so. Lots of things.
Anything else anyone would like to bring up or discuss? In that case, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So.
Second.
And we're wrapping this up at 5:15. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Very
very much.
productive
Thanks,
meeting.
Bella. Thanks, Bella.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
You too.